So as I keep saying in every video at this point, I want to get to 10,000 subscribers, so if you haven't already, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and I'd love you forever. But let's talk about Wandavision. So I've got to say, these Marvel series that they've started to do on Disney Plus, they did pique my interest, but not enough for me to rush out and watch them. So I've only recently just watched both Wandavision as well as Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now I'm going to do a review of both of the different series. However, this one is purely about Wandavision. So I believe it came out towards the end of last year, which shows how long it's actually been for me to get myself to watch it, but either way, I've done it now. Going into this series, like when it was first announced, I was a bit just like, yeah, okay, that'll be alright. But then the more I saw footage of it, the more I heard about it, the more I was actually quite intrigued about it, because this is something that isn't really like the rest of the MCU. You know, we've seen a variety of different things, like we've seen heist movies with Ant-Man, we've seen political thrillers with Captain America the Winter Soldier, and yes, we have seen some of like the weird magic shit with some of the Doctor Strange stuff, as well as Wanda in some of the movies, but nothing like a weird random sitcom thing. So overall, what did I think of it? I'll start off with the positives. First and foremost, the fact that it is a bit different, I do appreciate. I do like the fact that this isn't like anything else in the MCU thus far. I think it's quite cool that we have a show that emphasizes Wanda and her powers, because she is a really cool character both in the comics and in the movies, and I feel like it really was about time that she got some time to shine, because she arguably is one of the most powerful characters in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point. So let's show that off, and in a show like this, you definitely get to see that. You even get to see Wanda become even more powerful than what she was before. I also like the fact that with Vision, you get more with him as well. And now by the end of the series, I am sort of confused as to where Vision's really at now. I mean, I've got a rough idea, but I don't know. It kind of feels like Vision should have gone back to Wanda as opposed to just disappear, as in the new Vision. So I don't know. It's a bit weird. But still, it was nice for more character development for the pair of them, and it was nice to see just more of them, because they were side characters realistically up until this point. I really like the world building in this, I've got to say, because throughout the course of the series, like, you really don't know why people are there, what they're doing there, who Wanda can really trust, and I think all the cast in this show do a really good job. It was also nice seeing some returning characters, and it was also nice to have some more setup for the future of the MCU. Like, it is very clear that this is going to play a part in the Doctor Strange sequel. Also, there's characters in this that are clearly going to go forth into the Captain Marvel movie. And I think when there is action, it is really good. I really like the use of magic in some of the scenes. I really like Vision showing off his powers in certain scenes as well. So in terms of that, and the stuff that I was kind of expecting to see and was hoping to see, I feel like I did get that from this series. However, I still don't think that this is a perfect series. Now, I've seen some people say that this is like incredible and it's one of the best things that Marvel ever could have done. And I can definitely see the influence of House of M on this story. However, what I will say is the execution isn't always great. Now, what I mean specifically is the pacing of this series. Now, for me personally, I didn't really get drawn into this series until episode 4, maybe even 5. And this is a 9-part series, so it took me roughly half the series for me to get into it, because I think the first half really is a struggle to watch. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still intrigued and I'm still interested to see what's happening and what's really going on, but because there's so little about it that's properly teased, I'm just waiting to get to the answers, because what I'm watching, particularly the first 2 episodes, I'm just watching a crappy comedy with the Vision and Scarlet Witch. And yes, there's some humorous moments in there, there's some really unnerving moments in places, and like I say, you do get those little teases of like, everything isn't quite as it seems. But plain and simply, it didn't grab me and it didn't massively entertain me. Like, I feel like the first 2 episodes could have been mashed into 1 episode, and I don't really think the overall plot of the series would have changed all that much. I just feel like it would have been a little bit tighter. I mean, considering that this is 9 episodes, and admittedly they're only like half-hour episodes, but this was 9 and Falcon and Winter Soldier was 6. I feel like they both have that same problem of, I wish this was less, and I'll get into it more in my review of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but I feel like that needed more. I don't know if COVID played a part in any of that, but that's just how I felt. Another thing that I thought was a bit of a letdown, and some people are gonna hate me for saying this, but I didn't really like Agatha. Actually, no, I take that back. It's not that I don't like her, it's just I didn't find her all that interesting as a villain, because I mean, technically you could argue that Wanda is the villain of this series. I do like her character, but she doesn't really feel like the overarching threat of the series. It just kind of, there's a moment where they pull the rug and it's like, haha, it was Agatha all along, and there's that goofy song. But then after that, I don't really feel like she does all that much. I mean, the biggest thing of note that she does is essentially tell Wanda how to beat her in the next episode. But in terms of the things that she does, I don't really think she does anything that noteworthy, and doesn't really come across as that much of a threat. You know, like, you see some villains in the MCU and you do think like, shit, this is going to be a problem. Like, you know that they're going to get over it, but you do know that it's going to be a struggle to do so. I didn't really feel like Wanda had to massively struggle to get rid of her. The build up with her and her as a character I did actually enjoy, but like I say, just her as a villain didn't quite do it for me. But then again, Marvel does have a villain problem. Like, there is still at this point only a handful of villains that are truly great ones in the MCU. But then again, this is Wanda's story, and I did like that this series explored her as a character, where she's at after the snap, or the blip as they call it, this world that she's created for herself, like why she's done it, how it's ended up the way that it has, what she's actually trying to achieve. Like, all of that stuff I thought was really great. And in terms of character development, which is pretty much what this series is about, it nailed it. But I think there's certain aspects where it could have been better. They could have tightened up the pacing, they could have teased more, as opposed to just show a crappy comedy and then the last 5 seconds is a tease of, oh, it's actually on a TV, so what's really happening? Obviously Evan Peters is in this series as well. That was a major fucking letdown, because, oh, is this an X-Men crossover? No, we're gonna make a boner joke. I mean, listen, I understand that they probably couldn't do that or wouldn't do that because it'd just complicate things or whatever. It was purely just for speculation for a couple of weeks, but I still feel like that was wasted potential. I mean, you do see him as Quicksilver for a bit, but it all boils down to nothing in the end. It comes down as if it wasn't really done for the plot. It was just to tease the audience and to get people talking about the show, as opposed to having any sort of impact on the show itself. But yeah, WandaVision, it was enjoyable, but I don't think I'd revisit it again, if I'm being totally honest. I'm more curious now to see where Wanda goes from this, as opposed to, and Vision as well, but I'm more curious to see where she goes from this, as opposed to revisit the journey as to how she gets there, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give WandaVision a 6 out of 10. In the comments below though, guys, let me know what you think. WandaVision, did you love it? Did you hate it? Anything in between? Whatever it is, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and Patreon links will be in the description, as always. So if you'd follow me on any of those things, I'd absolutely love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.